Glyssa is best known for her time in the world of pageantry. She started out in Australia, where she was crowned several titles, including Miss Philippines Australia 2014. She then flew to the Philippines in 2014. She went on to compete in Miss World Philippines 2019, where she was named the first ever title holder of Miss Philippines Tourism under the Miss World Philippines organization. She continues to pursue her advocacy as a breast cancer advocate with the Philippine Foundation of Breast Care, Inc.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of In Love With Me, where we feature inspiring individuals who will share their amazing stories. I am your host, Mafae Velasco, and for this series, our topic is being empowered during quarantine. For this episode, we have an empowered woman, spokeswoman of the Kasuso PH, and beauty queen to motivate us and to take action. So without further ado, let's welcome the beautiful and amazing Glyssa Perez. Hi, Glyssa.
Hi, Ate Mafae.
Hello, Aussie Filipina.
Yes.
Like I said, I love that you got a new haircut.
Thank you. It's so short. Love it. It's like
I saw that that's the shortest
ever I've ever had in my life.
It's hair, so don't go back.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not worried.
So before I ask you what you've been up to during this challenging time, during lockdown, quarantine, please share with everyone on how you became the empowered woman that you are today.
Wow, I feel like when you become empowered in yourself, it's really a journey. So it's not like where it's like 1 year you've already become empowered. It's more of like a continual thing. So for me, I feel like it really started at age 16. That's when I started to feel empowered. That's when I actually started my beauty pageant journey, actually. So I was 16 when I did my first beauty pageant, and I didn't realize the impact I actually had in the community. So it kept me really intrigued on, oh, what can I do in pageantry? So I was 16 when I did my first pageant, and thankfully I won. And then the next following year, I competed for another pageant, and I won again. And then it took me to go to like 4 years. When I was 19, when I did Miss Philippines Australia. And I feel like that ignited my fire in doing pageantry, because I'm sure you're familiar with Miss Philippines Australia, and I didn't realize that we actually go to the Philippines and do something within the community, help out. So I felt very empowered in myself that I can actually give back with doing pageantry. Like, it's really a platform. It's really an avenue for you to give back. And it has always been in my heart to serve in the community. And that's because of my parents. My parents have always been that backbone for helping other people. So they're my inspiration in helping other people. And I feel like pageantry has been my life, because I've been in the pageant world since I was 16. So about 9 years now that I've been in the pageant industry. So it really molded me to the person that I am today. And it's not just pageantry. One big factor is like my faith in Christ. It really helped me become an empowered woman. And my family, oh my gosh, God, I'm so thankful for my family. My family has just been amazing in supporting me with my dreams, with my goals. Like, they've really been the backbone, and I'm so thankful for them. And my mom, especially, she really helped me be empowered, especially with my advocacy, and she's really my inspiration in being able to really open my eyes in the potential that I have in actually helping other people. So I feel like my whole life, like it's been really a journey, and the things that I've learned along the way helped me become the empowered Glyssa. So yeah, empowered
Yeah,
Glyssa.
I just realized that someone have a similar background in pageantry, and I
Yeah.
was also 19 when I joined Miss Philippines Australia.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
Thank you for the organization and the way that they really help Filipina girls in Australia and bringing them back to our home country to learn about it, to
Yeah.
know, to give back, like you said. Speaking of giving back, you're a spokesperson for Kasuso PH. Can you tell us about
Yeah.
that?
So Kosusa PH, we're actually a nonprofit organization. So Kosuso is actually Philippine Foundation for Breast Care. So we're dedicated to serving indigent patients in the Philippines who has breast cancer. So we really serve the lowest bracket of the economic in society in the Philippines. And the fact that we're able to help them navigate with their breast cancer journey is really an empowering thing, because not everyone is very fortunate to have the means to with breast cancer treatments or support. So the fact that as an organization, as a nonprofit, that we're able to help them, guide them, it's really truly fulfilling, and it really really warms your heart that you're actually helping, but at the same time they're empowering you. Like I've learned so much from the patients about not just about hard work, but about love. They about the fighting spirit. All of them, they all have a story, and something that everyone shares in common is their breast cancer. But everyone has a different story to tell, and it's just amazing, and it's so inspiring. Like their family background, what they've done throughout their life, how did they become who they are now, and it's just wow. Like so many stories. I'm just like I'm always mind blown with everything that I learned from them. Like I'm always learning whenever I'm at the foundation, when I visit them. Grabe, like it's actually nice to talk to people and just to ask, oh, how are you? What's your story? Because you can actually learn things from other people. Like you might be like, oh, I'm so curious as to what this person has done in their life, but then you can actually learn from it and be like, oh wow, I feel empowered just by listening from your story. So I feel like the breast cancer patient has taught me many things about life, about family, about love. So yeah, it's truly amazing.
So going back, in Australia, of course, we did not really have an advocacy per se part of the pageant. So where did it come to for your realization that having a powerful voice or a platform as a beauty queen came about?
To be honest, I didn't realize how big pageants were in the Philippines. Like, I mean, in Australia, it's not as big, like it's not really fully respected in terms of like pageants, because everyone thinks, oh, pageant is just, beauty of face, beauty of this. But really, like, there's a deeper meaning. That's the reason why I'm so passionate about it, because people don't know that we actually have a voice. We actually have a platform where we can actually help people. Or, for example, if someone has a cause that they're passionate about, they can bring that up and talk about it. And then people will listen. People will actually grasp their advocacy or their cause. And that's because we have so much attention from it. And when I was here in Australia, there's a big Filipino Australian community, and we're all about helping other people. I feel like that's the Filipino community here, and I think that's Filipinos in general. We're all about helping other people. So it's so good to have that here in Australia, and I saw that within the community, and I saw that within my parents, and I've always had that. I've always had that in my heart where I'm like, oh my gosh, I so want to do something, but it was the it was really pageants that really opened the door for me, and doing a lot of fundraising. There's a lot of organizations, like Filipino organizations within New South Wales or in other states, and it's more of like finding your purpose within that organization and doing something. So everyone has different areas in supporting, like for education, or there's like feeding programs or fundraising for a certain area in the Philippines. Like we all have that. Everyone has a different purpose in each organization. And with the Miss Philippines Australia, we were fundraising for Angels of Hope. I think it's Angels of Hope. It's an orphanage back in Manila, and we're fundraising for orphans, and doing some feeding programs. And the fact that people here in Australia are willing to help out and give back is truly empowering. So I'm so thankful for the Filipino community here. So yeah, it's really good.
You were saying that, you know, the pageant in Australia was different or more challenging here in the Philippines, or vice versa. So tell us about that that journey.
Oh my gosh, it's so different. Oh my gosh, like you don't understand. When I went to Bohol, because I won Miss Philippines Australia in 2014, and then the following year I did a mission trip together with my fellow winner, who was Miss Charity Queen Australia. So we went to Philippines. We did our activities, our advocacy in helping for the orphanage and other charity organizations. And then I decided that I'm going to join a pageant in the Philippines, and not just for the pageant, but being able to give back, because I want to serve the community, right? So I was okay, 2016 is a year that I will graduate from my degree. So I was okay, that's the best year for me to move to the Philippines. So I decided to move to Bohol because it's my mom's home province, and I really want to represent my province in the national stage. So that was like my dream. So I started with Miss Bohol, and I didn't realize the passion of the people there. I was like really shocked, and like really shocked. I was really surprised by the support of everyone, and it was also challenging as well, because obviously I came from Sydney. I wasn't really born in the Philippines. I wasn't really from Bohol. So it was so important for me to really immerse myself in the Boholano culture, and for me to understand them, and for them to understand me, which is so important, because if I'm going to represent my province, I want to make sure that they know that I'm doing this with true intention, that I'm doing this because I want to do it, and I want to represent my province, not just for the name of it or just for the sake of it. It's really because I really want to serve. I really want to represent my province. So I feel like I 100% did represent my province well, and I really showed them my true intentions in really serving the Boholano people. And but from provincial to national, it was also very different. It's so different. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's so many stages, but I feel like the level of support of the Filipino people are all the same. Like, we are so passionate, like super passionate. You know, if it's their candidate, they will go all out in supporting them with the banners, with moral support online and voting and everything. And if I would compare that with Philippines and Australia, big comparison. Philippines is up here when it comes to support. Australia will probably be here, and that's because we're just so passionate about beauty pageants. And I feel that's the same with like boxing and basketball. You know, we're so passionate about that. So I think it's just it's nice to see how passionate Filipinos are when it comes to pageantry, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for my supporters as well. So I'm so thankful for my Glyssa family support, and the support from the people in Bohol. And yeah, it's so important. So I'm so thankful for that strong support system that I have.
Did you speak the language? Do you have a dialect?
In Yeah, Bisaya. So I actually struggled, to be honest, because here in Australia, it was sort of like a mixture of English, Tagalog, and Bisaya. So my mom would speak sometimes Tagalog. Oh no, my mom would speak Bisaya. It's my dad who mostly speaks Tagalog. So it's like a mixture with English as well. So it was really tough. And even when I was growing up in school, we weren't allowed to speak our second language. So they told my parents, "Na, you're not allowed to speak your second language. You can only speak English." So most of the time, yeah. So most of the time at home, my parents would speak to me in Tagalog or in Bisaya. So for me, I thought it was the same. I thought it was the same, like same language. So I didn't know there's different dialects. So growing up, I had a mixture of Bisaya and Tagalog. And it's only when I sort of grew up that I actually made the effort in watching like ABS, like TFC, and like reading subtitles. There's subtitled English subtitle. Oh, that's what it means. Like, okay, so I would practice. But with Bisaya, I would say I'm more comfortable in speaking Tagalog than Bisaya, only because growing up, my parents spoke to me more in Tagalog, and especially when I was watching TV, it's mostly in Tagalog. So that's how I really learned. But for Bisaya, that whole year while I was in Bohol, it was a bit of a struggle going around because they would speak to me Bisaya, and I was speaking English, and like I would be so confused, like I didn't really understand. But it took me a few months to be able to like, okay, I got this, I know what they're saying, and then I would say I would reply back in Bisaya, although it's like probably broken Bisaya, but at least I can still converse. So I was really happy. So yeah, it took me a while, but yeah, it was good though because everyone speaks English. I feel like Filipinos are so great in English, so that's why it's so easy to converse with people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a bit of a struggle, but then I learned. So it was really good. Talent is always the best.
Exactly. There's a few girls apart from us who also ventured, leaving Australia to compete in the Philippines. Knowing now that you have a crown here from the Philippines, Miss Tourism from the Miss World, what would be your advice to Filipina Australians who want to follow your footsteps? How should they prepare?
First things first, if that's in your heart and it's been really bugging you, go for it. But it's also important to have a plan, because without a plan, without preparing yourself, you won't really go anywhere. So for me, it's so important to know your why, your purpose, your core. Like, once you know why you're doing it in the first place, that will help you carry yourself through each stage. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, then you will really struggle in terms of motivation. Say, for example, you hit a roadblock or you experience a really difficult time. If you don't know your why, if you don't go back to your why, then you won't be able to move forward. So it's so important to know your why factor. And I remember you talking about it during, your talk. You talk about your purpose. And it's so true, without knowing your purpose, you cannot really live on. Like, you can't really carry on in doing what you're doing because you feel unmotivated. You feel nothing. So once you know your reason, once you know your why, then you'll be able to plan your next stage. So for girls who are passionate about pageants, don't let anything hold you back. Go for it. It's so important to also have a strong support system. Say, for example, you don't have a strong support system. Say, for example, your parents they're not really allowing you to pursue your pageant journey, I think it's also important to sit down with them and tell them your reason why. That's your number one. You need to know your why so that you can also explain to your loved ones why you are doing what you are doing. Because once they know that, then they will be able to support you and give you that 100% support. And I feel like with family in general, especially with parents, they only want the best.
Yes.
So once you tell them why you're doing it, and then you really let them understand, then I'm 100% sure your parents will really support you because they love you. They will support you. And that was my parents, they actually made an agreement with me. They said, okay, Gly, if you're going to the Philippines, if you're going to pursue your dreams, in pageantry and helping people, then there are two things that you need to do for us. One, you need to finish your degree. You need to get your education. So I finished my business finance degree. And then second, your brother has to move with you. So my brother, whom I'm really close with, we're only 3 years apart. We're literally hip. So we're always together growing up. So my brother made the choice as well to move with me to help me pursue my dreams. So because those all picked, my parents said, okay, you can go to the Philippines and, pursue your dreams. So yeah, I feel like for anyone who wants to pursue their pageantry, know your why, get your strong support system and just go for it.
I wish I could have my brother with me too. It was a different story, but I like that. I like that you had that list agreement. Again, actually, my mom and I had that too, and it's so funny because I found it. I found this mini contract that we had 2014. Oh no, 2004. Oh no.
Oh my gosh, 2004.
What was that? 2014? No. It was before I came to the Philippines. No, it was in the early 2000s, or maybe no. I left here 2000. No, I think it was like 2001 or something like that because I moved to the Philippines too. But I had that. It's funny you had 3 boxes. I also had 3. It was to finish my studies. The other one had something else, and then the other thing was I'm going to represent the Philippines. I had that in the contract. I said, "Mom, I'm gonna go because this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna represent the country." And she's just like, okay. And then we signed it. We had a signature. I have to look at that. I'll tag you on that post. But I just showed it to her. And she was just like, oh my gosh, how freaky. I'm like, oh. But that's the thing, right? Once you write things down or set a goal, know your purpose, know your why, then you'll be clear on what you have to do, on what actions you have to take. And for you, exactly on point. You need that support system. You need to make sure that your core, the people that you always look up to, reach out to, will give you hugs for no reason, are the main people that are supporting you 100%. And I love that. I love that you gave that respect with your parents because that's super key. There was a lot of family members on my side. And, we're wondering like, oh my gosh, your dad because my dad was a typical strict Filipino dad. So for him to allow me to move to the Philippines was a huge thing to all my family members. And without them knowing that, I did my part. You did your part. You finished your study. That's what your parents want you to do. Number one, once the studies are done, your obligation or their responsibility with you is obviously, okay, she's ready for the world. So exactly what you did. I think for me to add to girls who want to pursue the pageant scene or a career here in the Philippines, research on the country, research on people who are successful or people that can help you. Like here now, I'm here. So we're more than happy to help you out and give you tips on how to make your life easier here. Because it's not easy. It's definitely challenging. And I'm sure Glyssa can attest that there's so many trials and errors and things that we had to learn from, right? So with that, Glyssa, when you had those challenges in your journey here in the Philippines, how did you pick up yourself and make sure that you're okay?
I feel like every year I go through a challenge. It's crazy. So 2016 was the year that I moved to the Philippines, but it was also the year that my mom told me that her breast cancer came back. So it was really a struggle because a month before I was moving to the Philippines, my mom told me, Anak, my breast cancer came back. And my heart fell, like it literally fell because I was already at the stage where I'm old enough to understand what breast cancer was because this was the second time that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was diagnosed back in 2005. So at that time I was only 10. So I honestly didn't know what breast cancer was. And I never saw her being weak or being tired, like nothing. So I didn't know the meaning of breast cancer, to be honest. But but when I was like old enough, I understood what breast cancer was and what she will go through. And she said she's gonna go through chemo and she's gonna go through all these stuff. And I told her straight up, I said, no, ma, I'm not gonna go now. Like I won't go to the Philippines because I wanna be here with you. I wanna support you. And she said to me, no, it's like straight up, no, enough. Pursue your dreams. You already committed to it. You already said that you're gonna do it, so you might as well do it. Don't let me hold you back. I'll be okay. So of course, I was really sad, but thankful that my mom gave her blessing at the same time. And during my pageant journey in Bohol, it has always been in the back of my head, like, is my mom okay? How is she? How's she going? She would always update me, but it was never to the point that she would say negative things. Like it's always about, she would always be positive, and I think that's just my mom. And I think also that's how I got my um positiveness from. Like my mom is very ambitious. She's very positive. So I feel like I got that from her. That's why I'm also like ambitious and very positive. Like I always look in the good of, I always look at the brighter side. Even though there's the difficult season, I always think, okay, I might be going through this time right now, but I know this is not the end. There's going to be something greater after this. So that has always been my mind. And that's because of my mom. Her journey, her breast cancer journey also inspired me to keep on going, to move forward. And 2016 was really a year of just thankfulness for my mom to be able to bless me to pursue my dreams. Um, so I think it's my mom's breast cancer journey that really made me really struggle in a way that I wasn't there for her. But it was also my motivation to really strive and to work really hard, because my crown wasn't just for me, but it was for my mom, her story. And so that really inspired me during 2016. And I carried my mom's breast cancer journey throughout my pageant journey. Even till now, actually, my mom's breast cancer journey is my story now, because I'm able to share her story, raise awareness about breast cancer and the importance of identifying breast cancer early or doing breast self-examination. So it's really, my mom has been really my inspiration, and my reason why. My mom's my reason why. And so 2016 was that struggle, and then 2017 was the adjustment of moving from Bohol to Manila so that I could pursue doing Miss World Philippines. So there was a lot of training, but I feel like I think from 2016 till now, for my pageant journey, it was really competing with myself. I feel like that's the struggle that not only myself, but I feel like other girls go through, where we're competing with ourselves, where we're trying to fight with our mind, saying that I can do this. Oh no, I can't do this. We have so much self-doubt, and we don't realize that we're putting ourselves down. And it's amazing to me where it's so easy for us to say to people, girl, you look amazing. You are on fire. You're doing this. You're so good. Where we can't say that to ourselves sometimes, where we should be hyping ourselves as well. So we're on a constant battle in our mind where we're trying to strive, but then we have something pulling us back. And that's because of ourselves. Like we're constantly fighting with ourselves. And it's also important to identify that, to acknowledge that it's okay that I'm fighting with myself during this time, because it's part of life. It's part of, our mentality where we're going to be on a constant battle, but it's also important to acknowledge that and find steps on how can you overcome that. And I feel how I overcome my struggles was, number one, my why factor, why I'm doing this in the first place, and surrounding myself with people who will help me become better. And also, I feel like there's like a lot of steps. There's one thing that I love doing is words of affirmation. Like every morning, I love to say great things about myself. I would say I'm empowered, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm a champion, I'm a conqueror. Like these are the things that I would say to myself. And it really makes a difference, because once you start saying it, once you start believing in your mind, it starts to happen. And it affects, like, it's like a change. Like it's a constant change that you're doing, and it eventually happens. So it is so powerful. That's why I also say to some girls who always ask me, they're like, oh, after, they always, everyone does negative self-talk. I say, words are so powerful. Even in the Bible, it says that word that comes from our mouth, it's powerful, and that we should speak of life, never of, like death or something like that. Like it's so important to speak life, because what we say, it comes out, like it comes about. So it's so important to speak words of life in your life or in other people's lives. So I feel like that has been really my stepping stone on overcoming things in my life and the struggles that I go through. So yeah, it's so important. And even you, Atunasa, you also encourage us about that, about speaking words of life, being positive. And I have so many people who are my mentors, who I look up to, and then they will just encourage me with that. And you're one of them. So thank you. And thank you to those who have helped me become the woman that I am today. So, and I also feel what's also important is to be like, not like a sponge, but it's important to be open to people's constructive criticism. Although we call it, we meet people where they can say stuff, and sometimes we don't like hearing it, and sometimes it's important to also take the things that will help you and to remove the things that won't help you. So it's also important to remember that. And that's something that I've learned as well, where I shouldn't listen to what everyone says, because sometimes it might be good for them, but it might not be good for me. Like, because we're all different. The way we cope with things, it's different. So for example, with the quarantine, everyone has different ways of coping. So I might be doing something to help with myself, but it might not help you. So it's also important to experiment and to identify things that will help you become better, to help you feel more at peace. So with me, the way I feel more at peace is to, I like closing my door, shutting everyone out, and just having like 5 minutes of peacefulness, and just putting some music, and I just meditate or pray. Or sometimes I will go out hiking just so I can have a breath of fresh air, or sometimes just walking. Like this is my coping mechanism. Like this is how I cope with things. This is how I cope with struggles. And I feel like it's so important, especially during this time, is to find things that will help you cope and cope through this time, because everyone's different. So it's important to identify what you feel more comfortable in.
Just listening to you makes me so proud, because I remember that day that we had a conversation after I gave a talk for the Miss World candidates, your batch. You did come up to me and ask me about certain issues you were dealing with, and I was telling you, just be yourself. One of the things, and you not to change it because that's you. That's your X factor. Is your accent. Remember, that's the
Yeah,
one
I
thing
still remember.
we both have that in common. And to know what I know now and to what was happening during my time of competition, I was in your position too. But then again, I thought to myself, okay, I'm the only one on stage.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be holding my hand when I'm up there. So whatever I do is what's, and the result that I will receive is the hard work that I put in. Yes, we have mentors. Yes, we have people that guides us. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you absorb, like you said, what's good for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, you're correct. Don't listen to every single comment, especially if they're negative, and absorb it, because that's where you yourself made that choice that you're not good enough. When
Yeah.
you were already good enough, when you're doing something good, like I mentioned to you, people will talk, and that's okay because there's something good that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's only that is your signal or your like alarm. Oh, they're noticing me, meaning you're someone. You're achieving
Yeah.
something, and look at you now. You have achieved a crown that is, I'm sure everyone in your family, your network, because I am very proud of you. You've come all
Thank
this way.
you.
Now you're sharing your story. You're sharing your tips, and isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And that's why I was excited to talk to you because I'm like, yeah, she's a beauty queen now. You've
I know,
always
I'm so happy.
been
I'm
so.
so thankful. And I love hearing other people's story because as I said, you learn from other people's stories and their experience. So with your experience, I've learned so much and I'm just like, oh wow. Like, yeah, you're right. We have such similar background, similar stories, and it's just amazing how like you are so successful now. You have a family and it's just amazing like to see that. And I see myself, in the future as well. I want to be successful in my own right. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward. And pageantry, I have to say, it really made a difference in my life and it really opened doors for me. So I'm really thankful because actually pageantry as well, like it's really a training ground for your character, about about self-worth, because we get tested so many
You
times, and
do.
we don't even realize, you know, um, people who are not in the pageant world, they don't realize that if they put themselves in our shoes, they're like, whoa, okay, I understand now. And we actually learn a lot of like life skills as well. Like
Yeah.
we go through Q&A, so like interviews, so we can utilize what we've been
Mhm.
training on and do it in the workforce or just our day to day. So it's amazing. Like pageant has really been, it's really a platform or an avenue for people to learn about themselves. And I feel like I've learned so many things about myself. So yeah,
And
I love that.
the one thing I also appreciate about you is that you've never changed. You've always been the vibrant. Your aura has always been positive, even though you don't think so. But I look at your photos. When I have these moments to get to talk to you, it really reminds me of when I was in your position. Because yes, people will throw things at you, and it's like it's either you go sink or you swim, right? And for
Yeah.
you, you're doing amazing. So
Oh,
you got to give
thank
yourself
you.
your support group. I think is really helping you, and that's very key. This is something, especially during this time, is important also to reach out to loved ones, right? So speaking
Yeah.
about during this time, you mentioned to me, and you're so lucky because you've been home for how long?
6 months. Oh my gosh. I've been like 6 months in Australia. Actually, I came back in December last year, 2019, for Christmas to spend Christmas and New Year's with my family. Tapos, I said to myself, Ma, Pa, I'll be coming back here again in March for my birthday because I want to celebrate my 25th here in Sydney with my family because the last previous years it has always been in the Philippines without my family. So I'm like, okay, I want to celebrate here. So I said to them, I'll come back in March. And they said to me, Anak, why are you going back to the Philippines and you're gonna come back here It's only a month and a bit. Might as well just stay here till March. So I said, oh, sige na, I'll just stay here till March. And, and for me, I loved it because I was able to spend more time with my mom, with my dad, my brothers, my niece and nephew. I've missed so much on their lives that I'm really making it up to them now. So when it happened, so I extended to March, and then I was supposed to leave. I already booked my flights and everything. And then the COVID happened. I was like, the pandemic happened. I was like, oh my gosh. So my parents, they wouldn't allow me to go back, especially knowing that I'll be alone. So they said, no, you have to stay here. And I said, yes, I will stay here. I don't want to go back and I'll be alone in the condo by myself. So I might as well stay here. But it has really been, even though we're going through this challenging time, it really made me realize on the importance of family and just really spending time with them, and just the simple things like I would go downstairs and I'll go to the kitchen and then I'll just ask my mom, have you eaten? And she'll be like, no, you want to eat together. And the smile on her face is just always happy. Okay, sige, let's eat together. So it's something that it makes me happy. Like, she's like really happy. Like, like today I was like, oh no, last night I was really hungry. It was a bit late, but I said it's fine. So I'm like, Mom, have you eaten? I'm a bit hungry. Anak, ako din, I'm hungry. So we're like, okay, let's eat. So we're like eating, and it's like already like 9, almost 10 p.m. and we're eating. So we're like, it's just a simple things, and it made me realize like, wow, just the simple things matters, right? And it just made me so happy, and it just the importance of family and just spending quality time with them, because life is truly short. And I'm just so thankful that I get the opportunity to spend more time with them, even with my niece and nephew. They're getting bigger, so they always love that. They're like, oh, it's Auntie Glai Glai. I want to sleep over Auntie Glai Glai's house. Like, they're so cute. So I just love that. Like, oh, it's the best. Like, I've been really enjoying.
Your last
Sorry?
post, I saw your last post. You went to a zoo. So is everything okay in Sydney now? Are you guys still down, or what's the update there?
It's getting better. Our cases now, it's only about around 3,000. They've lifted our restrictions, so we're not on a strict lockdown anymore. So people can go out. People here don't wear masks actually. Like, I know in the Philippines it's compulsory for us to wear masks, and I also understand that because we're so it's really condensed there in the Philippines. It's really packed. Whereas with here, it's quite spread out. We have a lot of space. People here don't wear masks. The only time that they wear masks is if they're caring for someone who's sick.
Okay.
So it's just back to normal pretty much here. Although people are also doing their social distancing, people are also being careful. And I think people are just people are being responsible with their actions in terms of taking care of themselves and also with other people. So yeah, it's getting better here. So I'm just praying to the Philippines that everything will get better, because I know that the case is increasing. The last time I saw the case, it increased now. So I'm just hoping for the best and praying that the Philippines will rise up.
That, before we wrap up, can you share with everyone, especially your fans out here who are still cheering you on, regardless, you have accomplished such a great success just last year. What can you give them as words of wisdom from Glyssa, for hope and for, just being motivated, especially at this time?
Words of wisdom. Siguro, during this time is to don't be too hard on yourself. I feel like especially now we're pressured on doing something during our free time, or where we're pressured to do well, or pressured to live up to other people's expectations. Just be you. Don't fight with yourself that you cannot do it or you're limiting yourself. just start small, take baby steps, and focus on yourself, and just really take care of yourself. I think that's so important right now, is to take care of yourself, your mental health, your well-being. I know there are people who are struggling during this time, but it's so important to look deeper and just to find your why, and just to be find small things that will make you happy. The small things matters. So yeah, I feel like it's so important now is to find things that make you happy and just continue with that.
And lastly, again, Glyza, please share with everyone how they can support your advocacy, Kasuso
Oh
Create,
yes,
and
please,
where
yes.
to find any of your future works.
Okay, hey guys, thank you so much for watching my interview with Ate Mafae. So with my advocacy Kasuso, we're currently doing a fundraising campaign. You can find it on my Instagram, or actually on the Instagram of our of our foundation on Instagram. It's Kasuso P at Kasuso PH. We have a Go Get Funding page. If you would like to donate, that would be amazing. You will really help our patients who are really struggling at this time. A lot of them are struggling going to the hospital for their treatments and to get the maintenance medicine. So with your donation, you're contributing to make their lives a bit better, and to have that less to lessen their burden. So please support our Kasuso patients. They really need your help. And you can find me on Instagram. It's Glyssa Perez, or my Facebook page, Glyssa Perez, and on YouTube, Glyssa Perez.
I'll make sure all your links are on this caption so that it's easier for everyone to click on it. I'm pretty sure also at this time, Glyza will be more than happy to answer any further questions or more advice on how to follow her journey, or you just want to know about her journey. So with that, guys, I'm thankful for Glyza. Enjoy the fresh air for us there, and we hope to see
I
you.
will. Here, I'll bring it to you guys.
So with that, guys, actions speak louder than words. And thank you for tuning in on another episode of In Love With Me. Thank you, Glyssa.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching In Love With Me series.